The Chicago Bears have now fallen below 500 in one of the worst games. I can even I'm struggling to remember a time when it has felt this bad to be a fan of the Chicago Bears. It's interesting because, and somebody put this out on Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you credit for this. It was a great comment, and I lost it, and it's just now a wash and everything else. But it's like the Bears go into games where you're like, hey, there's no way they can lose this one. And in those contests, they're like 3-15. Like every time the Bears are in, there's no way they lose this one. Like worst case scenario, we go and we play host to Green Bay at 5-4. Believe me when I tell you that a few weeks ago, this Bears team was 30 seconds away from being 5-2. And since that time, they've lost 3 games actually, and they're now 4-5. And everybody's like, "Oh, the Commanders broke it." Like, really? You know what broke us? Ever since Devin Hester returned that punt for a punt for that. Let me start that again, Sam. Give me that one over again, Sammy. Ever since Devin Hester returned the kickoff for a touchdown in the Super Bowl, everything since that time has been absolute garbage for the Chicago Bears. That was it. You can look at the 85 Bears all you want, but since the Devin Hester kickoff return for a touchdown, everything for the Chicago Bears has been terrible. It has been awful. And let's get into it. And Sammy, let's start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Ray.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois, the sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome to the Sick Podcast, the post-game reaction. And just to let you know that the world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is coming to Illinois. Yes, the Circa Sports app is sports betting the way it should be. The best in-game splits, the best odds, the best customer service, and it is available to you in Illinois right now. Download your new bookie right now. Go to the Circa Sports app on your phone or go to circasports.com. Download the app to your phone, and if you or somebody else you know has a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 233-234. The Circa Sports app, it dominates. And if anybody was out there, and I know that once the public and once the NFL.com slate was all on the Chicago Bears, we were doomed. I should have been the dissenting vote to be like, you know what, we're not going to win this one. We're probably going to lose this one. And I know it's difficult to say that it's inexplicable, but it truly is. And I got to be honest with you. I've been waiting. I've been sitting here for a couple of hours. I've let it set in. Now, to pull back the curtain completely, I don't have my first place medal. My girls, my soccer team, my youth soccer team, we took first place this season. Top of the table, 3rd consecutive year. First 10U team in Section 143 history to win 3 consecutive top of the tables. We went on. We were in a tournament this weekend. We took second in that. We're waiting to hear if we're going to be in another tournament, if we're going to be in the area tournament moving forward. We're going to have some other tournaments upcoming. I'm going to then move on, also coach the All-Star team. So I did miss some of the game, and I had to go back and watch it. And it was as terrible as everybody made it out to be, which is good. And honestly, it's a struggle to find the answers. And I know you can sit here, and a lot of people came out here, and I'll say this and just admit it to you and be as truthful with you as possible. During the offseason, when people said, hey, the Bears' history of the Bears' history with quarterbacks is not great. And I'm like, yeah, but it's different people. It's different eras. It's different organizations. They got rid of Ted Phillips, different general managers. It seemed like the Bears were going to avoid some of the mistakes that they had made with their quarterbacks over the last number of years. I think number one is typically the Bears kind of fool around with their quarterbacks, and they'll bring in, so when you bring in a guy like Mitch Trubisky or Justin Fields or even Rex Grossman, there was always a veteran looming over them. Think about the situation in Indianapolis right now where Joe Flacco is playing while Anthony Richardson is sitting the bench. There was no possibility of that this season because they got rid of all the veteran guys, Tyson Bagent, even some of the guys who played well during training camp. You're like, we're not bringing him in. Well, whatever. Caleb was going to be number one. Tyson was going to be number two. And there was going to be no debate. No, hey, this veteran's taking all the snaps. Caleb's getting 5 first-team reps. No, we're just going to go after it. And so for me, I thought, well, that's one thing in the team's favor. But what a lot of people pointed out, and I will have to admit that this is actually sounding a lot better. A lot of people are like, you know what? If you're bringing in a new quarterback, you should be bringing in a new head coaching regime because it never works out. And this is one of the mistakes that the Bears fail with all the time. To the point of you know what? You might as well. What is the haul you could get for Caleb Williams right now? Should they trade? No, don't cut that off, Sammy. Don't put that out on the internet. I'm not saying that. But now Caleb Williams is going to have to be playing with a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach in his second season. They just are. And it has to be done. And you can't move forward now. There's nothing here that's redeemable. And honestly, and again, I waited a couple of hours to see if Eberflus was going to be fired tonight. And hopefully, guys, you can post this Sunday night so we can get some views, because I feel like we're going to have to do a new one on Monday where we're talking about a new head coach, an interim coach for the Chicago Bears. A couple of things with that, though, if that happens, is number one, we can't have the Antonio Pierce situation where the interim coach wins the head coach. We have to go out and do our due diligence. And whether that's Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Don Monken, the guy for the Ravens offensive coordinator, Monken, the former Georgia guy, who's the Ravens offensive coordinator right now. It's got to be somebody legitimate, and it's got to be somebody offensive. Looking at what happened or what's happening with Caleb Williams, as terrible as he's playing, and it's awful, he's not turning the ball over. And I think this is a problem with guys who play for former defensive coordinators in that don't turn the ball over. Turnovers are the worst thing that can happen to us. You got to let your young quarterback go out there and live with the turnovers. As much fun as I like to make of Jordan Love and how risky he is, at least he's out there balling. He's out there trying to make some throws. Sometimes it feels like Caleb's not even trying. And it's it's this over-reliance on not turning over the football. I don't know. Because too often, it looks bad. It just looks bad. And I'm still with Caleb. I still think Caleb is the guy. I still think he's the quarterback. If I was buying sports trading cards, I would go out there and purchase it. And by the way, speaking of sports trading cards, Windy City Sports Cards are the best way to collect sports cards for anybody who is a fan of Chicago sports. So whether you're a fan of the Bears, Bulls, White Sox, Blackhawks, or Sky, Windy City Sports Cards has you covered with all sorts of sports cards, all sorts of memorabilia. And not only that, if you're a fan of players who are not of the Chicago Bears, and you still want to go out there and collect it. Let's say you wanted to go out there and get a Kobe Bryant card, for instance. Windy City Sports Cards is the place to be. So what do we do now? So again, we're waiting to hear if Matt Eberflus is going to be fired. And if he's not, I don't know how we go on with our lives. I don't want Matt Eberflus to somehow rectify his job by beating the Green Bay Packers, which, you know what? I don't think we have to worry about. I've been trying to be kind for all this time. And I do like Matt Eberflus. I've had delightful interactions with him. And I always hate this thing. I hate when pundits go out there and I hate to see anybody lose. He's not losing his job. He's got a contract that's going to get paid out. He's going to be somebody's defensive coordinator. He's probably going to go back to a college campus. If it's me, and I'm thinking about this correctly, he's going to end up going back to some college campus. He's going to be a defensive coordinator like Oklahoma or some ass. Actually, I think he likes California. So I don't know where his daughters are, but I could see him I don't know, he'll be the defensive coordinator at USC. Maybe he becomes a defensive coordinator at San Diego State, like UNLV, like someplace low stress where he never has to worry about this again. And he can just dial up defenses and live his life and be super cool. I could actually see him going to UNLV, being the defensive coordinator, eating at Batista's after every game, just having a great life. Just enjoying it, going to UNLV basketball games. Oh, Cher's having a residency at the Monte Carlo. How old am I? Park MGM, whatever. Something like that. Living in San Diego, living in Pacific Beach, commuting every day, playing golf. Oh, he's going to have a great life, Matt Eberflus. It's just not going to be a life as the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. And if it doesn't, listen, I know I can tell from the views on all this stuff too. If they don't make a change, they are an unserious franchise. They really are. I mean, I don't know. How do you go through this? It was such I guess this is the thing that makes me want, for a team that was so sure to go out there and be like, Caleb Williams is the right thing, even though Justin Fields is wildly popular. And you know what? I applaud that decision. I still think that's the decision to make. How do you not make the same decision with the head coach? If you are so committed to going with Caleb Williams, why didn't you go the extra step and say, we're also going in on Jim Harbaugh? How do you not do that? How do you not make that decision? And unfortunately, as I sit here and I watch the Chargers play, and it sucks living out here in Southern California, watching how legitimate, even coming into the season, I said that when Jim Harbaugh took over the Chargers, I said, they're so far away. Their talent is so far off. Don't expect it to be like when he first joined San Francisco or when he joined the Michigan squad. Expect it to be more like when he joined Stanford. And they played better, but it took him 2 years to really get cooking. That guy's got this team playing, the Chargers I'm talking about, so well. And Matt Eberflus can't, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for other than to make our lives miserable? But we'll have to see. So in any event, thanks to everybody for stopping by. We appreciate you looking in. And I'm sure I sound salty. I feel bad because I know a lot of the Commander fans would love to come in here and troll this account, but it's you guys choked yourself. And Jaden Daniels did not look great. I'm telling you, Jaden Daniels folded. He had an opportunity. He had the ball with 2 minutes left? How did that work out? Hey, don't come over here and squat in my house when you guys have your own problems. But in any event, unless Matt Eberflus is fired, there's really no reason to watch this team. Quite honestly, next week's game, I'll go to Rip Beer Company and do whatever. Go have a slice of pizza, have a Diet Pepsi, and enjoy my life. But, actually, I'm going to go out and watch some more tournament soccer. with the U10s. In any event, thank you so much for being here. I know it sucks right now, but anyway, Sammy, go ahead and play us out. Bear down.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcast. Brought to you by Circa Sports Illinois.